That is why many wives feel so alone while talking so much. But what you often share is information, not the emotional experience. You're really giving him the itinerary. He hears the schedule, not the sadness. He cannot comfort a list. Here's why your husband doesn't get you. If your husband hears everything you do, but still doesn't seem to understand how hard life feels for you, you may not be telling him what you think you're telling him. You think you're opening up to him because you're telling him everything that happened that day. But what you often share is information, not the emotional experience. And there's this big difference I want you to see. I'm Arina, I'm a psychologist and marriage mentor. I help wives see the patterns that hurt their marriage so they can change how they show up and help stop the cycle. There is a very important idea in relationship psychology. Intimacy does not grow simply when one person talks. Research identified what builds closeness in relationships, and so many of us have no idea about it. It turns out that not all sharing works the same way. Research makes a clear difference between factual disclosure and emotional disclosure. A factual disclosure gives information. An emotional disclosure gives your inner experience. A factual disclosure sounds something like, I had a hard day, I did the laundry, I picked up the kids, I made dinner, I had to call the school again. All of that is true, but none of it tells your husband what it felt like to be you. An emotional disclosure sounds like, I felt invisible folding laundry on the couch next to you. Or, I felt like a one-woman show today, like nobody had my back. Now he has something to respond to, and that is one of the biggest findings. Facts do not build closeness the same way feelings do. Why? Because when you share a feeling, your husband has something real to connect with. He can comfort it. He can understand and respond to it. But when you only give him facts, there's not much for him to step into. He hears the schedule, not the sadness. He hears the tasks, not the loneliness. And he hears what happened, not what it did to you. So he says, oh, okay, or that stuff. Or he goes back to his phone. And then you feel even more unseen. You believe you're telling him how hard your day was, but you're really giving him the itinerary. And the itinerary does not create intimacy. It gives him information. If you share only facts, he mostly responds to the situation and then moves into fixing mode. He hears tasks, problems, and logistics and responds like a manager. Or he checks out because he cannot fix any of it. He doesn't move into closeness because the conversation never brought him there. We feel close when we feel heard and understood. But if we do just surface sharing, we don't go to a deeper emotional level. This is not a tiny language change. So what should you do instead? Here's the practical part. Translate the fact into the feeling before you say it out loud. Not just, I cleaned the kitchen after dinner, but you say, I felt taken for granted cleaning the kitchen tonight and doing everything by myself. Not just, work was rough, but I felt so small in the meeting today, like I didn't matter. Do you hear the difference? The feeling is the door. The fact is just the doorknob, and you do not have to stop sharing the facts. You just have to pair the fact with the feeling underneath it. That is what opens the emotional space between you. Because if you do not show him the feeling, he cannot respond to the part of you that needs comfort. He cannot comfort a list. He cannot connect to a schedule. He cannot support a task report the same way he can support a real feeling. That is why many wives feel so alone while talking so much. They are sharing plenty of facts, but very little of their actual emotional experience. And then they assume he does not care. He is emotionally unavailable. Sometimes that is true, but many times the bigger problem is that he never got the real emotional material in the first place. This is what you can start practicing. The next time you want to tell your husband about your day, pause and ask yourself, what did this actually feel like to me? Not just what happened, but what did it feel like? Did you feel invisible, overwhelmed, alone, unimportant, embarrassed, dismissed? That is what he needs to hear, because that is what gives him a way into your inner world. Before you tell your husband about your day, take one fact and pair it with one feeling, just one feeling. For example, when I was doing everything tonight, I felt invisible. That is enough. You do not need a speech or perfect wording. You just need to add the feeling. So if the marriage feels stuck, he may not be the one holding it there. A lot of women are often waiting for their husband to become the one who starts things, who says, let's go out, let's talk. Something feels off between us. Or let's do something together. And when he doesn't do that, you make it into something painful. That he does not care enough, that he's passive, that he's fine living like roommates. And it's actually much simpler than that. He got used to following your rhythm. You were the one who noticed when the marriage needed attention. You were the one who brought warmth back after distance. You were the one who turned a normal evening into connection. And then somewhere along the way, you got tired. So you stopped suggesting and bringing things up because part of you wanted to see if he would finally do it. And when he didn't, the whole relationship went flat, which looks a lot like lack of love for many of you. But the research on disclosure and self-monitoring points to something very important here. In close relationships, one person often sets the tone and pace of connection. They notice the signals faster, they adjust faster, they make the first move more naturally. And very often, that person is you. It does not mean your husband does not matter. It means that you are often the one who feels the shift first. You notice the distance first, and you know sooner when something needs care. So when you step out of that role, the marriage often does not rebalance. It slows down. As a result, so many of you think that he changed. But is that what happened? So you stepped back because you were tired. Tired of planning, tired of being the one who brings things up, tired of feeling like the emotional engine of the marriage. You slowed down and became quieter, less warm, less proactive, and less willing to go first. And underneath that is often one silent hope. Maybe now he will finally step up. But if your husband was never the one naturally leading the emotional side, how can he suddenly become that man? He just follows the stillness. And now both of you are waiting. Both of you are silent. And both of you may be telling yourself stories about what it means. At the same time, the resentment grows. You start telling yourself, if I have to plan it, it isn't real. If I have to bring it up, then he doesn't really want it. That sounds true when you are hurt. And you think you're right about what he should have done. Now, tell me, how is that going to move the connection forward? It won't. You are naturally the one stronger when it comes to emotional connection, and you need to embrace that influence you have in the marriage. This will reframe your resentment. It will help you accept that he's not as good as you are, speaking about emotional awareness and connection. Don't turn your strongest ability into some bad narrative that you are burdened and he doesn't care. What if your husband doesn't need to be exactly like you in this area? In fact, he can't. This is one of your strengths. You are reading the room faster. You feel the drift sooner than him. You know what the relationship needs before he can even name it. So you're strong in a place that matters. And this is the part many wives need to hear. Your husband may never lead emotional connection the way you do. That does not mean he doesn't love you. It may simply mean this is not his strongest part, but it is one of yours. And when you turn that strength into a complaint, you create pain for yourself. And you're suffering twice now. One, because the marriage needs care. And secondly, because you keep telling yourself it's unfair to have to lead all the time. But what if this is not a burden? What if this is one of the ways you bless your marriage? What if your ability to feel, to notice, name, and move connection is one of your gifts? You do not have to resent your strength. You can use it with joy. And at the same time, this does not mean you do everything and you stay silent about your needs. Emotional leadership and over-functioning are not the same thing. Leadership means you see what is needed and help move the relationship toward it. Over-functioning means you do everything yourself and build resentment while doing it. We need loving leadership with healthy boundaries. So yes, lead, but also ask clearly, lovingly, without drama. That might sound something like, I want us to make the time for each other this week, or I need more softness from you right now. Now, let's make this practical. Plan the thing you keep waiting for him to plan. If date nights stopped, plan one. Do not sit back and let the marriage starve just because you are waiting to see if he remembers. A thriving marriage does not care who started it. Initiate those emotionally intimate conversations. Your husband may not be good at starting them, but it doesn't mean he doesn't care. Pay attention to his state. If he's exhausted, choose a softer entry. If he's open, go a little deeper and drop the scorecard. The scorecard is poison. I always have to be the one. may feel true, but repeating it in your head turns leadership into resentment. And resentment takes all the lightness out of what could have been a gift. Modern advice often tells women, don't do all of the work. He should meet you halfway. That may sound fair, but in real life, that advice has left a lot of marriages frozen. Being right about what he should do doesn't help the marriage. If you're the one who naturally knows how to connect, it makes you powerful. So I challenge you to do this today. Pick one thing you've been waiting for your husband to initiate. The date, the conversation, the apology, the family time. And instead of waiting, lead it. This time, do it with empowerment, knowing that you're the more skilled one in this. Many wives are stuck because they stepped back from the role that used to keep the connection moving. If you want to understand more about what is hurting your marriage, subscribe. Here, I share insights and tools to help women show up differently and build a happier marriage.